Hello humans, I'm the TheAlienDoctor, but you could call me Alien, and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today we're going to be taking a look at disabling vsync to actually decrease input lag. So on Bedrock Edition there is basically a bug where vsync causes input lag. So I basically want to show you guys how to stop this from happening, because input lag is very annoying. Now, something to point out is this only happens on Windows 10 or 11. So basically if you're playing with a mouse and keyboard and you have vsync enabled, then it will cause input lag. Now, vsync would normally be quite a useful tool, because basically what it does is it matches your FPS to the refresh rate of your monitor to stop things like screen tearing. Now, if we're disabling that, then by default, we would just be giving it unlimited FPS. So I'll also show you how to limit your FPS to stop your screen from tearing. However, you may want to try using unlimited FPS first in case your screen doesn't get tearing. I will link some things down in the description to do the screen tearing and vsync and things like that, just so you understand it a little bit better if you kind of want to do a little bit of your own thing. But otherwise, I'm just going to be showing you how to limit your FPS to stop screen tearing and also disabling vsync, which may cause screen tearing, which is why we're disabling the FPS. Hopefully that all makes sense. If it doesn't, don't worry. Long story short, what we're doing is removing a feature that's meant to do one thing, manually adding in a feature that basically does that thing. And the reason we're removing the feature in the first place is because there's a bug that causes input delay. Hopefully that all makes sense. If it doesn't, then feel free to join my Discord, ask any questions there, and of course the comment section is also a place that you can ask questions if you have any. So first things first, we're going to disable vsync in actual Minecraft. Now, there is an option to do this in the in-game files, and you could use a resource pack to basically add a button to disable vsync. However, we are just going to do it in the in-game files just because that's a little bit easier, and instead of having to use a third-party resource pack. But anyway, so first of all, what you're going to need to do is actually exit Minecraft. So you're actually going to need to exit out of your world if you're in any, and just completely close down Minecraft like I have here. Now, what we're then going to need to do is actually navigate to your com.mojang folder. So obviously, if you've done this before, then you can just head over there. If you haven't, I will show you where to do it now. So you're going to need to go onto this PC and then your C drive. Then open up the users folder. And then this is where you would select whichever user you are on right now. So I'm on TheAlienDoctor, so I'll open that one. I'm on Windows 11, so the UI will look a little bit different if you're on Windows 10. However, you're basically going to need to go up to the top, press View, and then Show, and then make sure that Hidden Items is actually ticked so that you can see the hidden items, because we're then going to need to open up App Data, which is a hidden folder. Once this is open, you should see a folder called Local. Open that one, then scroll down, or you can press P on your keyboard to take you to the P section, where you'll then see Packages. Open up Packages, and then we're going to need Microsoft.Minecraft, UWP, and then there'll be a ton of other letters after it. So you can see here, Microsoft.Minecraft UWP, and then these numbers and letters don't really matter. If you then open up that, you can then open up local state, and then you can open up games, and then you won't have two folders here unless you're using the version launcher I also use. But basically, you're going to want to open com.mojang. Then this is your com.mojang folder. You're going to need to open up the Minecraft PE and then options.txt. So you should just be able to open this in your favorite text editor. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is scroll down a little bit. And for me, it's actually on line 35, but in the future, they may add more lines to this. So it might not be on line 35, but you're going to need to look for the one that's gfx_vsync. And you're going to need to set this to 0. So by default, it is actually set to 1, which is on. And we're going to set it to 0, which is off. Then press Ctrl and S on your keyboard, or just save it however, and then you can close this file. It's not necessary. So after you've done that, you should notice that vsync has been disabled and that you can get infinite FPS in your game. Now, there is a weird thing that happens in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. So when you do this, whilst you're playing in windowed mode, vsync will be disabled. However, if you go into full screen mode, vsync will still be enabled, which will still cause you input lag. so you'll still have input lag in full screen. So we need to fix this. Now the process is going to be a little bit different if you have an AMD graphics card, but for those of us that have an NVIDIA graphics card, you're going to need to type into the Windows search NVIDIA, and you should see one called the NVIDIA control panel. Now, something else to point out is that if you haven't already, you're going to need to make sure that you have a GeForce Experience actually downloaded, assuming you have a compatible NVIDIA graphics card. So just make sure that GeForce Experience is downloaded, and then inside the actual GeForce Experience app, once you have it set up and signed in and all of that sort of thing. So here we go, this is the GeForce Experience app. Make sure to go on to drivers, and then check for updates. And this is just updating your graphics card driver. Just make sure that this is on the latest version, because that will help you out. Then you can close this, and assuming you're on the latest version and all that sort of thing, you should have the NVIDIA control panel. So just like I did just then, just search NVIDIA into the Windows search bar, and then NVIDIA control panel should come up, as well as possibly GeForce Experience, which you need to update your graphics card driver. So on the side here, you should have an option for Manage 3D Settings. So this tab is the global tab, and this displays 3D settings for all of your computer. So like on any game by default, it will use these settings and things like that. Now, vsync doesn't cause input lag necessarily on every game. It's just a bug on Bedrock Edition. So you're going to want to head over to Program Settings. Now, then you're going to need to press the Add button. This will open up a list, and you're going to need to find Minecraft on here. Now, it's actually a good idea to select this to A to Z so that you can actually, do it in alphabetical order. And here we go, Minecraft for Windows 10. If you press Add Selected Programs, then you can actually change the specific settings for this. So what you're going to want to do is head over to Vertical Sync and make sure that that is disabled. This is going to disable vsync for you, not only in windowed, which we have already done, but also full screen. However, you may get screen tearing. In fact, it's very likely you will get screen tearing. What this is when your computer is basically sending a higher FPS than what your monitor can handle. So we're going to need to limit the FPS to what your monitor can handle, which is actually what vsync would do by default. So if you scroll up here, you can see the max frame rate, and I have set this to 143. There we go. No, that's too big. I said 143. There we go. Now, the reason I've set it to 143 is because I know my monitor does 143.93 hertz refresh rate. However, you may not know the refresh rate of your monitor. Most of the time, it's either 60 or 144 or something like that, or sometimes it's just a little bit below. Now, the easiest way to check it is to open up the Windows Start menu again, type in Display, and then go down here to the duplicate or extend to a connected display. Select your primary display, which for me is this one. Scroll down a little bit until you get to advanced informations, and you should see here the refresh rate of your monitor. So this should be set to the highest because most of the time it won't give you an option that's higher than what your monitor can handle. So my monitor is actually advertised at 144 hertz refresh rate. However, to be precise, it actually only can do 143.97 hertz refresh rate. So I set in here the max frame rate to 144, and I got screen tearing. So I went into here, noticed it was 143.97, which is why I've set it in here to 143. So you're going to want to do the same. If it is a decimal like this, then always round down, not up. Otherwise, you'll get screen tearing. But anyway, after that, you should just be able to press apply down here. Now, one other thing to point out is if your graphics card supports it, you may also want to enable this, which is low latency mode. I actually have it set to ultra, and I haven't noticed anything bad happening, and I have noticed a higher response time, which is what we want. So you're going to want to set this to ultra because, yeah, this will also disable a little bit of input lag possibly for you. But yeah, after you press apply, you should then be able to close this and open up Minecraft normally. And then as you can see, we're in here back in a world. And if we actually head over to an armor stand, I have a resource pack which tells me my FPS. So this isn't completely necessary for you, But just for me, I decided to check that this actually works, obviously, because I don't want to give you false information. And as you can see here, my FPS is now at 143, or it's maxing out at 143, which is what my monitor can handle, both in full screen mode, like we are now, and then also in windowed mode, which is exactly what we want. There's also no input lag or delay or anything like that, and there's also no screen tearing or anything like that. Obviously, you guys wouldn't be able to see if there was screen tearing anyway, because that's a monitor thing, not the computer itself. But yeah, there's no screen tearing and no input delay, which is really, really good. Obviously, if your monitor has a higher input delay or something like that, then you can't really solve it by doing this method. But what you can do is make the game as responsive as possible, which is basically what we've done here. Obviously, you may still have to buy a better monitor if you want 1 millisecond response time, for example. But yeah, that's kind of a subject for a completely different video on probably a completely different channel. So if you do need any help with this tutorial, or you have any questions, or you just generally don't understand what's going on, then please do join my Discord server linked below. We have help channels for this sort of thing, for my tutorials. If you like Minecraft Bedrock Edition content, then maybe consider subscribing. Other than that, thank you ever so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe today to join the Alien Empire. I'll see you in the next video coming very, very, very soon. Bye.